In this section, we're going to move into how to use ION to facilitate data review meetings, starting with the Tier 1 or core data review. We call this the Tier 1 or core data review because we're addressing the core instruction that is happening for all students in the classroom. I want to draw your attention to this chart. As I mentioned in the previous section, there are several different implementations of the MTSS framework down the left side of this chart. The names you see in bold are the ones we've used in setting up ION for your teams. Across the top are 3 data reviews, which are critical to the MTSS process. The body of the chart details which data are available for each of these reviews in each system. The first data review is the Tier 1 core data review. We can see that it shows data for all students and disaggregated by race and ethnicity. For academic implementations, you'll see your interim assessments or universal screeners. When working on attendance, you'll see quarterly attendance displayed as the percentage of students in the red, yellow, and green zones as defined here, and so on. Depending on the initiative and the training your team has received, this Tier 1 core data review can take on several different names. Your teams might know it as a core review, a grade level review, or a 100% meeting. In the documentation, we've attempted to call out these different names as well as link to some resources for each. The Tier 1 core data review looks at school-wide and grade level data at regular intervals throughout the school year as soon as possible after data comes available. In ION, the Tier 1 core data review is facilitated through the dashboards found by clicking on the green speedometer in the top left corner. We've done quite a bit of work to make the information you want to use for each type of meeting easy to access in both the dashboards and the data walls. You'll find this structure looks identical between the two. All of the predefined data walls and dashboards are created under school dashboards or school data walls. Here you'll find the dashboards that relate to the different implementations of the MTSS framework that might be happening within your school. These folder names align with the bolded name on the left-hand column of our ION data displays chart. I'm going to click on academic, where I know I'll find my interim and universal screener data. Each grade level then has their own dashboard to review. I'm going to start by looking at first grade data with the first grade team. During a Tier 1 core level data review, a team is looking at the overall progress of all students in the school. The team is wanting to determine that the lessons they're teaching students are preparing students to reach the expectations. Sample agendas are linked in the documentation. Let's look at this example school using the Tier 1 core lens in ION. The first thing we notice are that this school is using STAR Reading and STAR Math. It appears we have fall and winter data. So starting in the fall, were 80% of our students in the core? No. In fact, I would say that entering this grade level, only about 25% of our students were in the green zone. When so few students are in the core, this team really needed to step back and look at what is missing from the core instruction that students were receiving and make adjustments to address those shortcomings. Looking at the winter scores, it appears the team did just that. In the winter, about 70% of the students are now in core. And in ION, we can see that all the students who were in core in the fall stayed in core. Plus, we can see that more than half of the students who were in the strategic zone are now in the core, as well as a few students from their intensive groups. These are huge and positive changes for this team's students. It's just as important to ensure that 80% of each group of students is successful. If our supports are only working for the white students, then we're missing the opportunity to serve all of our students. So ION's dashboards also contain a fall, winter, spring breakdown for students in each racial demographic. Very quickly, we can again see the transition from less red to more green for each group of students, including some significant gains for the Hispanic population. The team has also made some progress with Black students, but it looks like they may still want to look at how they're supporting those students and develop a plan for what they're going to do differently to better their program for them. So that's the basic process of conducting a Tier 1 core review. At this point, I want to remind you of your navigation buttons. You can click the green dashboard and go right back to find another dashboard. Or you'll notice there are links to the school dashboards up here where you can choose a different educational area. In the case of attendance, you'll get attendance data for every grading period, as well as breakdowns by race and ethnicity with color bands for red, yellow, and green, as they're defined here. The secondary success dashboards contain grades by core content areas, attendance, as well as the risk factor based on grade performance. And again, all the details of those color codings are written out here. I know the desire at this point is to dive right into specific student names and start assigning supports to students. But the point at this level is to think about your school from a core system level. Is your core instruction meeting the needs of your students? Will most students, regardless of who they are, be successful in your school without additional supports? If not, what do you need to change about your core instruction?